Nick saved a guy's life,
fed lots of cats,
floated in salt lakes,
stuck on a 10-hour bus,
barely any sleep,
only tourists in the town,
hooning through sand dunes,
and one hell of a magical night.
This is our Siwa recap.
So, our journey begins in Cairo, where we previously spent 1 night and 2 days exploring the amazing pyramids of Giza and riding camels. We then hopped on an overnight bus headed for Siwa Oasis. The bus was as comfy as a park bench, with upright seats and non-stop chatter from the D-bags behind us. And I'm talking so loud at 2, 3, 4 a.m. when you're trying to sleep. It was awful. But hey, it only cost us 55 AUD, and we survived a grueling 10-hour ride with 1 toilet stop. Not the coziest experience, but hey, options were limited.
We finally arrived in Siwa, and after a quick walk to our hotel, we needed some fuel. So we dived into a typical Egyptian spread with pita bread, jams, beans, cheese and meats. It was exactly what we needed. But let's be honest, we were so sleep deprived from the bus journey and this feed basically put us into a food coma. So we crawled back to our hotel and took a much needed nap, or siesta if you will.
Upon waking from our 2-hour hibernation, Siwa's Shali Fortress, a mud brick beauty from the 13th century, was calling our names, and it was just a 4-minute walk from our hotel. Despite some erosion, it's a testament to Siwa's history. This historic fortress, known as Shali, played a pivotal role in the history of Siwa Oasis. It was constructed centuries ago as a traditional fortress and town, serving as a crucial part of Siwa's defense system. As the years rolled on, the fortress weathered erosion, but still proudly represents Siwa's one-of-a-kind architecture and heritage. Crafted from mud bricks in an intricate design, it gives us a peek into the traditions of this desert oasis, keeping Siwa's stories alive, both past and present. After a beautiful sunset at Shali Fortress, we trotted back to our hotel and then went out for dinner. We went back to the same place we had lunch from because, well, it was easy, and they told us to come back because they had chicken and olives. And I don't even like olives. During our meal, we met a local who treated us to some C1 tea, and guys, you've got to try C1 tea. It's all minty and refreshing and just delicious. And it also goes by another name, which is Shea Bil Nana. We had a great chat with our host about his life in Siwa, and then he turned out to be the owner of the place we just had dinner at, and the lunch the day before.
The next day, we explored Siwa's salt lakes on a tuk-tuk tour. 30 minutes of rocky roads led us to these stunning salt flats. Floating on the water was honestly surreal, even if we felt like salty snacks afterwards. The salt lakes in Siwa Oasis, they are amazing. However, they're actually formed by excavation machinery that are digging up and selling the salt. These empty holes then fill up with fresh rainwater and mix with the remaining natural salt, thus creating salt lakes. Now, while these lakes offer a picturesque setting, attracting your typical Instagram influencers, and I'll admit, we wanted to go to check them out too, it's worth noting that while the lakes themselves are beautiful, the surrounding landscape is marked by ongoing construction and excavation sites, offering a unique blend of the natural beauty and industrial development. But for ours, it felt natural. As our lake was so far away from the machinery, we only noticed it on entry and exit to the area. We then ventured to Cleopatra Spring, which is a natural freshwater spring renowned for its crystal clear waters. Legend has it is that Cleopatra herself once bathed here. Today, it remains a popular attraction for visitors looking for a refreshing dip or to rinse all the salt off your body after the salt lakes. The water itself is clear with bubbles coming out from underneath you. However, it's covered in moss and kind of has a little bit of like a dark appearance. This had Nick a little bit skeptical, and I personally did not want to go in. Nick was worried, thinking there might be a croc or a hippo lurking around ready to drag him under. Plus, the mossy and slippery steps didn't help either.
Lunch was right by Cleopatra Lake, and it was somewhat westernized but not too expensive. We devoured a pizza, lamb kofta, roti bread, salad, and a coffee. My tongue didn't have a good time with this coffee, and well, it tasted like ass. We also had an uninvited visitor, a cat, so I guess you could say I'm a pussy magnet. We timed this perfectly as we were finishing our meal. A tour of about 3 to 4 buses and 100 plus people arrived and swarmed the place like the SWAT. We quickly looked at some marts, met a local, and he gave us some free gifts and absolutely refused to take payment for them. It was quite nice. Then we left to return to our hotel.
After lunch, we relaxed at the hotel until our afternoon/nighttime tour. This was honestly the highlight of our trip. It took us around 30 to 40 minutes of driving to reach the sand dunes. We paid $240 AUD combined for the tour through Torritos, and it was worth every cent. And then we tackled these epic, and I mean steep dunes for over an hour. This was so much fun. My cheeks were literally so sore from laughing so much. There were a couple of moments that we thought the car was going to tip. We actually came across a natural spring that was apparently used for mud bathing, and it also has fish in it. But we didn't actually see any fish, but the mud felt so weird under your feet. Oh, and then we went to a hot spring. It was quite crowded, but upon walking in there, we were greeted by these Egyptian ladies who had their feet in the water, and they were just like, "We love you!" And it was such an absolute vibe. We all sat around like clapping whilst they were singing, and it was honestly just such a happy moment.
Our adventure continued on with sandboarding, which was so much fun. I raced our young tour guide, Hassan, who quickly became like a friend to us. We all stacked it a few times, ate some sand, some bruised hips, but it was amazing nonetheless. Next up, a breathtaking desert sunset. We shared some more Siwan tea and traditional snacks, like an old school Snickers, where you eat a date and peanuts at the same time. It was pretty sick. Once the sun had set, we gazed at the stars for a while. We shared some epic stories about life with the Siwan driver, Akmal and Hassan, and we learned a little bit about their language and their lives here. It was very wholesome and such a magical moment that will be a core memory for us. Oh, and it turns out our tour guide is an absolute player and has 4 girlfriends. No thanks, one's more than enough. We eventually packed up camp and headed back to town, where we devoured a delicious, slow-cooked dinner that was cooking under the sand for 10 hours of the day. Turns out we had some more uninvited guests and couldn't help but share our meals, but we were more than happy to. After a couple of hours here of maxo relaxo, we upped and left and went back to our hotel for a much-earned snooze.
But all good things must come to an end. The next morning we hopped onto yet another bus, but this time it wasn't an overnighter. A 5 to 6 hour journey, cram-packed, no aircon, the only tourists on the bus, and what was meant to be a quick toilet stop ended up turning into Nick having to save someone's life.
Yeah, it was a bit dramatic, but long story short, a young guy from our bus collapsed and hit his head on the tiles. He had a seizure and needed airway support. My nurse skills came out of hibernation, and he turned out to be fine at the end. Soon after we got onto the bus, we landed in Masa Matrua, a beach paradise like no other. I haven't seen beach waters this beautiful before. It was absolutely stunning.
So there you have it, our whirlwind adventure from Cairo to Siwa and then Masa Matrua. Thanks for joining us on this unforgettable journey. Stay tuned for the next one as we explore the stunning Abu Simbel and the Instagram hotspot of Luxor. But was it all that it's really cracked up to be?
So thank you guys for staying around and watching our crazy little adventure. We appreciate it so much. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
Until next time, bye!
Bye!